The ball leaves his boot and the treble is alive. A single surgical strike from the man who never scores. 50,000 people are screaming his name, but watch his face. No roar, no chaos, just a flicker of something almost like relief. How does the quietest man on the pitch become the one who decides everything? This is Rodrigo Hernández Cascante. Rodri. A defensive midfielder. The position nobody watches, the job that never trends. And for one impossible year, the best footballer alive. He does not beat three men and dance down the touchline. He does something harder to see and harder to replace. He controls time. When Rodri plays, the game slows to his heartbeat. But the story that made him also carried a label, one stamped on him as a teenager, and a season that would crown him and nearly end him in the same breath. Hold on to that, because before the throne there was the rejection. Part 1. Not quite enough. He is born on the 22nd of June 1996 in Madrid, a city that lives and breathes two football clubs. And as a boy, Rodri belongs to one of them. He comes up through Atlético Madrid's academy, the red and white cathedral of the capital. This is the dream, to wear that shirt where he was born. But in 2013, as a teenager, Atlético let him go. Not fast enough, not sharp enough, not quite enough, they decided. The club of his city looked at him and said, no. For most kids, that word ends the story. The academy gates close and the world moves on. So this is the first fork. Rejected at home. Where does a slow, thinking midfielder go to prove he belongs? The answer was 90 minutes up the coast. Villarreal, the Yellow Submarine, a smaller club with a bigger patience. They didn't want his speed, they wanted his mind. And there, the thing Atlético missed became the whole point. Rodri didn't need to be quick, he needed to be first, to read the pass before it happened, to be standing where the ball was going. By 2015, he's rebuilding. By 2017, he's one of the most intelligent young holding midfielders in Spain. The tall, unhurried anchor who makes chaos look organized. And someone was watching very closely. The club that let him go. Part 2. The club that said no. In 2018, Atlético Madrid buy him back. Read that again. The academy that released him for free now pays to bring him home. It's the sweetest kind of vindication. No speeches, no revenge tour. Just a player becoming so good that his rejection turns into a receipt. Atlético had to buy their own mistake. And he doesn't just fit. He runs the middle of a Simeone team, one of the most demanding defensive machines in Europe. One season. That's all it takes. Because one season is all it takes for the biggest club in England to decide he's the future of their entire midfield. Pep Guardiola had built a dynasty around one idea: control the ball, control the game. But the man who did it, Fernandinho, was getting older. Guardiola needed an heir. In 2019, Manchester City signed him for a reported £62.8 million, a club record. The heir to the midfield throne. The pressure arriving in a number. But an heir has to earn the crown. And replacing a legend at the base of the best team in England is not a gift. It's a target on your back. The Premier League is faster, more brutal, more forgiving of nobody. Early on, the questions come. Is he strong enough, quick enough for this? The old label whispering again. Not quite enough. Part 3. The metronome. So he answers the way he always has. Not with noise, with control. Slowly, City start to look like a different team when he's in it. Calmer, cleaner, in command. They start calling him the metronome, the player who sets the tempo. Every pass a tick, every position a beat, the whole orchestra playing to him. And the numbers that defined him were never goals. They were something rarer. They were about what happened to his team when he stepped on the grass. Because for a long, staggering stretch, Manchester City simply did not lose league games he started. Not tempo, not flair. Results, the currency nobody argues with. Which brings us to 2023, the season it all crystallised. City chasing the treble, the league, the cup, and the one trophy that had always slipped away, the Champions League. Through every round, he is the engine, the man who holds the shape when the pressure comes, who never panics, who makes the biggest games feel like his living room. And in the final, against Inter, in the 68th minute, the man who never scores, scores. A low shot, driven into the bottom corner. The treble decided by the metronome. No wild roar, just that flicker of relief we saw at the very start. The quiet man had won everything. But the biggest year of his life hadn't even begun. Part 4. The Crown. Summer 2024. The European Championship. Spain, a nation that had ruled world football a decade earlier and then lost its way, searching for a new spine. They found it in him. Rodri sits at the base of the team, and everything flows through his rhythm. The calm heart of a young, fearless Spanish side tearing through the tournament. Match after match, he doesn't just play well, he conducts. And when Spain lift the Euro 2024 title, there is only one name for the tournament's best player. Player of the tournament. A defensive midfielder, named the finest footballer at the biggest tournament of the summer. And still, the ceiling wasn't reached. Because for decades, football's biggest individual prize went to the men who score and dazzle. Strikers. Wingers. The magicians, never the man who guards the middle. In October 2024, Rodri wins the Ballon d'Or. A holding midfielder, crowned above every striker and winger on earth. The best player in the world plays the position nobody watches. The kid Atletico let go for being not quite enough was now, officially, the most enough player alive. The story was perfect. Which is exactly when it broke. Part 5. The Fall. September 2024, Manchester City against Arsenal. Just weeks after being named the best in the world. He goes down. No collision, no drama, the cruelest kind. He tears the anterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. The reigning Ballon d'Or holder, undone in a single, ordinary moment. The prognosis is brutal. Around 220 days out, some 51 games watched from the sidelines. A full season, gone, at the peak of his powers. And this is the true center of his story. Not the trophies. This. A man at the summit, suddenly unable to walk properly, facing, in his own words, real fears about whether he'd ever be the same player again. The ACL is a specific kind of terror for a footballer. It doesn't just take months. It takes trust in the knee, in the plant, in the turn. The very control that made him. For a player whose whole gift was reading the game one beat ahead, now the question was cruelly simple. Would his body ever again let him be first to the ball? Part 6. The Long Way Back. The comeback, through 2025, is not a clean fairy tale. It's rocky. Soft tissue setbacks, the small tears and strains that come when a body is asked to trust itself again. Every return is followed by another pause, minutes managed, gains missed. The metronome, learning to keep time all over again, this time with his own recovery. And here's what's really at stake now. Not another trophy. His identity. Can the most decisive footballer of his era still decide games, or did that September afternoon quietly take the best of him? Which is the question he carries into the biggest stage football has. 2026, the World Cup. And he arrives, not just as a player, but as a captain. The armband on the arm of the man who was rejected at home, rebuilt from scratch, crowned the best, and then broken. He leads Spain into the tournament.
They reach the knockout rounds, the stage where a career like his is supposed to be defined. And for stretches, you can see him again, the head up, the pass before the pass, the game bending to his tempo. The metronome, still ticking. So look back at where we started. That low shot into the bottom corner. The quietest man on the pitch, deciding everything. That's the answer to the cold open question. He decides everything precisely because he's quiet, because while everyone else chases the ball, he's already read where it's going to be. His whole career is a single, stubborn idea. That the most valuable thing on a football pitch isn't speed, or noise, or flash. It's control. And control can be taken away in one unlucky second. He was rejected, and he came back. He was crowned, and then he fell.
And now he stands at the biggest tournament of all, chasing the one thing no rehab can guarantee. Not whether Rodri can play again, he can. But whether the very best Rodri, the metronome who never lost, the man crowned above the world, can return when it matters most. That question is still open. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Beyond the Boots for more. The boots tell the story. We just follow the footsteps.